August 13th, 2021. Two things I want to point out. One is the fact that digital anything was not to be brought out to the public, period. Not in the United States, not in other countries. It becomes a dangerous whatever. We're having enough with the electric grid. I found out yesterday that the Machiavellis that they built, that they called Concorde between France and United States, being New York, the ones that make the sonic boom at JFK when they try to land, those start to heat up and the passengers start to get really hot, right? Kind of like global warming in New York at this point, and in, I think, Canada. So I just want to make that point. Digital doesn't help. Also, in this broadband, there's a Canada and United States approved gentleman installing in rural areas. But the voice actor is not Canadian, and he's definitely not native New York.
Which includes $65 billion
This
to expand
is a problem.
Internet access in rural America. We'll get them up to speed. NTD's Don Ma has the story.
We don't need to enhance the internet. It needs to cease.
To agree on is that it's time to give rural Americans a
Do you hear?
long-awaited boost to their internet speeds.
There is something called the digital divide. I'm sure
Canada?
the people that are on the slow internet side of the digital divide are very aware of it.
Canada?
Daily life.
New York?
To offer broadband service in rural Washington
Look at
State.
this.
He says private companies fail to deliver in rural areas.
The private companies have essentially kind of run out of steam in these rural communities. They haven't been upgrading infrastructure or putting fiber in the ground to the home.
Holtzgrove compares the situation with the internet today with how the federal government stepped in to expand the electric.
This red burning gentleman, some lineage of Canada, maybe Ireland, right? He's doing rural work, doing what the big man says. Got that, not mad at him. What I am mad, he's my dairy farmer on this one. What I am upset with is the Chinese voiceover. I don't need him getting the job once, having a film crew come out, taping his job and what he does to install stuff, and then making like a documentary at home for the voice actor to then take a copy of, like, he's so proud of his new communications project, and then go elsewhere and then cut him out a future job and everything that he's built to protect just because you all needed to have some kind of project somewhere, right? Your projects are now costing us more in health and ability to control the future safely so we don't all burn up in atmosphere like a Machiavelli Concorde with the two little tail thingies. Like, remember we had two at all times? Two took off from France, both of them white on the outside. And then two landed in New York, both white on the outside when they landed in New York. Some passengers inside, whatever they looked like, nobody gave a shit, right? Okay, great. Now I know that was fights, but whatever, nobody's talking about it. So, always two white planes took off from France, landed in New York. There was symbolism there, really important at UFO territory. I don't want to get in a fight.
What's up, my gorgeous boy?
All right.
Grid in rural areas when it wasn't profitable for private companies. That process is expected.
Because when we tell people they can't learn certain process or have certain jobs, they seem to come out with new ways of teaching one another and then saying, oh, one knows. I don't know how they found out. No, we know.
A fast connection is also crucial if you want to be able to work or take online classes for school from home.
Oh, do you hear that? Okay. Here's the thing. Likes books at the library. Likes her son. Likes her grandkids. Likes her knitting class. Likes her community to stay looking like it did when she first arrived 60 years ago. Likes the fact that she has a rural permit to drive from her rural whatever to the nearest dairy whatever, pick up veggies and some milk if she needs. Likes all those things. Working toilet, that whole thing. What she doesn't like is being told that someone in like urban elsewhere decided she can no longer have her way of life because now she has to have fast internet because everybody's doing stuff virtually and she's missing out. You know she's missing out on everything she enjoys in life because now there's like some forced social guerrilla warfare tactic where they're like purposely pushing that everybody has to be connected to somebody on some kind of numeric connection. What the fuck for? You're just overtaxing and overheating the system with children that we never knew existed and that didn't matter then and certainly don't matter now. And if they blew out their own network, oh fucking well.
For Amazon, and he comes out on the weekends, and he would like to be able to work here and stay out here more, and he can't.
The Senate bill
Right, because he's got so much bullshit busy work to do.
Pass it without a larger bill to expand social services. Don Ma, NTD News.
It's back to school shopping season, and the net.
The other thing is this narrative.
Legal rub. In July, she served De Leon with a notice of intent to recall.
Hold on. I don't know what this is all about. There's something about veterans. They're homeless now.
The United States.
There's something going on in Venezuela. I mean, it looks like Obama to me. Is that like Obama's cousin? I don't know. And then there's a guy named Nicholas from Venezuela, but he's got some opponent guy. Looks like
The
Obama.
country has built high walls along its land border.
Says something about EU.
Again,
I don't know what these mean to you all.
Have decreased this year. The EU holds fears that its welfare systems could again be put under strain by another large influx of migrants.
Right, why are all the migrants moving? Why? Did they burn up their network? Is it getting too hot where they are? Asking for all that electric and water and stuff?
We'll begin negotiations in Mexico City today.
This is not, they said this is Mexico City. Again, I don't, Venezuela negotiations in Mexico City. I'm one white Mexico City. I don't know what that means. And I don't know who was attending.
NTD's Colin Fredrickson has the story.
Negotiations start Friday in Mexico City between rival Venezuelan political factions. The sides are led by Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro and opposition leader Juan Guaido. Maduro is petitioning the U.S. to ease sanctions started under the Trump administration. Biden administration officials say Maduro has to grant political and economic freedoms to citizens before they lift sanctions. Maduro is presenting a defiant face entering the talks. He calls the talks a dialogue with the devil.
They're going to Mexico to have dialogue with the extremist opposition of the right that is governed by the United States. We are going to have dialogue with the pro-Yankee opposition.
Now, here's the thing. They're using this word Yankee. They're using pro. I'm the white devil, I believe, because I got those red and blue eyes. And they blink on and off. I also got the ear thing going on. But I didn't have an invitation to Mexico City. So that's just, like, they're not flying me there. I don't know when this took place, but it's airing on my TV in August of 2021. And it is August 13th today. So I don't know how any of the rest of the world is turned on in like action and executive orders. But I'll tell you, from New York, no way to tell. No idea. There's been no entryway. Is this a problem at like the Lost City of Atlantis department, wherever and whatever that works on at weather pattern? Because I think there's some kind of pentagon, and there's a pentagraph, there's a star, I have no idea how that integrates into whatever's going on here in some communications at this point. I haven't met any of them. Just letting you know what's running the show, I have no idea.
With the slaves of the United States. You have to have dialogue with the devil. We are going to have dialogue with the devil.
Guaido says he's seeking a pragmatic solution.
I also understand what we are facing and what we have described during this process, clear on our strengths and also on our vulnerabilities. It implies facing a dictator, but also to focus on a solution, to provide certainty to our people and to live again in dignity.
In the past,
Dictator. Indicative of diction, of speaking diction in a format that helps with diplomacy, and taking part in a global initiative to fix the heat and thermostat that has been the sundial moved into a more hot position, not just by one area, but by several areas suffering from some kind of argument over something that's happened simultaneously.
opposition leaders accused Maduro of using talks to posture and buy time instead of negotiating in good faith. But now Venezuela is in an even more dire economic and social crisis, generating a mass exodus of citizens expected to reach 7 million by next year. So there is more pressure on Maduro to reach a solution. Analysts say the hope for successful talks rests on the U.S. delivering sanction relief in return for concrete actions on the Venezuelan side. Another round of talks, mediated by Norway, are set for the end of this month.
I attended, by the way, and you'll have to pardon me because the Venezuelan and the Ecuador flag look, I think it's Ecuador, right? What's the other E one? I think it's Ecuador. Their flags look very similar. They're the same colors, the same three colors. And in Patchogue, New York, which is 11772, where my son went to school, Benjamin, in the Michael Murphy Navy SEAL who died, and then they, named the high school after him. My son Benjamin, from 1999's birth, whatever, he attended there with several transplants, let's call them at the moment. They did not say they were Venezuelan. Most of them say when they get into New York, they're Ecuadorian. So if they came from Venezuela, I would have no idea. And if they come into my area and beseech me and say, as a group, that they're Ecuadorian, you're Ecuadorian, I do not know. It is not where your destination finally will be once we figure out how to turn the thermostat down. You'll have, right, the dual flag with your whatevers in whatever. However, there seems to be a little confusion, just as I am a Russian fighter jet. Never been to Russia, but I was supposedly built there. And then, at least my lovely personality. And then I came down in an American shot-down situation, and here we are in Hyperion of speaking, a hypothetical hyperbole outside of the normal course of action, which we don't encourage everyone, but again, she-devil, white-devil, the Fila, the Windigo, right? Yeah, I got some things going on in, big area. I don't want to stir up the wrong hornets or bee's nest, but I got real issues that have to be discussed, and I don't know how to get to respectable places, being that I've been so disrespected, and not necessarily by any one population. It's kind of a jambalaya issue of everybody who showed up and then pretended like I should stay and act out this disgusting scene. So, anywho, so that happened. I did go to Christian church, kind of, sort of, but in their native Espanol, I guess their sector. I brought Alexander, I brought Benjamin for one church, whatever. I had a tenant downstairs in the basement that rented from me when I was in Patchogue, and she invited me to her church. I went to support her. I met some of her I guess her constituents or her, her congregation. I donated some clothes as I was cleaning out some of the house because we were losing the house at that point. Let's think about this before I got kicked out on the street. And let's think about this. So that happened. Yeah, so I'm just bringing you up to speed on like the reality of the situation of like what actually transpired, and so that you lose your argument and defense completely, and we can just fucking move shit, because I'm fucking tired of waiting, and I'm tired of being abused by the human population of every fucking nation and flag, and like blaming it on, I have no fucking clue, things I couldn't give two fucks less about. Star 1978, star 8378, Nicole Cataruza. Here's the other thing. Oh. This is this Britney Spears thing again they're running. No idea what that's all about.
For the homeless,
And this is, I'm in New York, this is LA.
Pushing back against the plan. NTD's Jamie Joseph has more.
Now I see palm trees, but I don't know.
Of Eagle Rock, Los Angeles for the last 54 years. She has no bad childhood memories growing up here, but now she blames her local city councilman, Kevin DeLeon, for the growing homeless encampments in the area.
Now, De Leon, that it sounds Creole and sounds French, but it's been taken over by a very dark-skinned French. I don't know why. These are archipelago children, that if that's their name at home, but they're not allowed to leave archipelago and start claiming dominion elsewhere. That goes for all the children.
They're not anywhere to be found. We have drug addicts and we have drug dealers.
As the county grapples with a growing homeless crisis of more than 60,000 people living on the streets, Los Angeles council member Kevin DeLeon announced a plan to develop 25,000
And she looks very Middle Eastern.
But some community members are pushing back, saying that housing first
Like what, like Persian maybe?
You live in Venice or South LA, Pacoima or San Pedro, East LA or Encino. At the end of the day, there are no easy answers.
This is a very dark population. When did was California always this dark?
We can't waste that money to the point
Like, I mean, there's a lot of archipelago movement in case management didn't notice at the White Union. Joe Biden, I don't know what you inherited, but I'm just keeping you up to par and up to speed. Same with Putin.
You made reference to,
in case you need a white friend somewhere in the world.
Notice by Trump supporters, and what I have to say is this: is that our unhoused community members are already there. Why not clean up the area?
This is not Donald Trump right-wing silliness. I have not in my life seen so many Democrats fight against somebody. So I really believe it's bipartisan. I believe that when you're talking about a community as tight-knit as Eagle Rock, Highland Park, this community, we're tired.
And Kruger, are we talking about like African Gray Kruger, like the billionaire who was really great to some residents that lived there at one point, and then they decided to stow away on someone's metal bird, open, and like somebody else opened under the same name in a different area, a supermarket, supermarché, and all of a sudden the South went on fire with like birds in the forest, like, ah, they're here! Like, they followed us. No, they had relatives there. They're billionaires. I'm just curious, because I heard a really dark-skinned man the other night mention it on Bill Maher. Is it Bill Maher? I don't know, the Alan Senafrenchi-looking guy. Alan Senafrenchi was my accountant with the shitbag Jason at one point. That was in Melville.
Mayor Eric Garcetti's desk.
Peter and Sarah recommended him. Go figure.
Petitioners begin collecting signatures to recall on August 16th. Organizers will need roughly 21,000 signatures to trigger a recall election.
I have no idea what recall means. I have no idea what this election thing means in this context. You guys throw words and actions and motions around like, I mean, it's like nobody's business. And in Manifest Destiny, what you do on the streets is now affecting Manifest Destiny. It used to be the other way around. Manifesto is being changed, Manifest Destiny is being changed, and then Manifestations is being changed. And in dangerous, dangerous effects. And then there's some courtside, like in the moment, like action that's being had at some of the really confused children that think that that's the way it's actually works, which is fine because you got to put a pedicure on them. But I mean, again, I've got other people at non-she-devil with non-red and blue blinking eyes. I mean, I'm House Lion, and not because I am a beautiful specimen of non-human, just because my eyes blink red and then gold and then blue. I mean, I don't know what else to say. Star 1978, star 8378, Nicole Cataruso.